The Arizona sun was brutal that day, burning the red earth until it shimmered like a furnace. Dust swirled around the small wooden corral where Jacob Granger, a struggling young rancher, stood facing a mob of angry men. His cattle had wandered too close to the settlers' land, and they blamed him for trampling crops. The voices were sharp, fists clenched, tempers ready to boil over. "Thief!" someone shouted. "You think you can just let your herd destroy what we worked for?" Another growled. Jacob tried to explain, his voice rough with exhaustion. "The storm broke my fences last night. I'll pay back what damage was done. Just give me time." But the crowd wasn't listening. Fear and hunger had made them cruel. The leader, a broad-shouldered man with a whip coiled in his hand, stepped forward. "Time's run out, Granger. Men like you think you're above the rest. Maybe a few lashes will teach you respect." The whip cracked in the air like a rattlesnake. Jacob felt his throat tighten. He was no coward, but he knew he couldn't fight them all. His ranch was barely hanging on. His father's debt, the endless drought, the loneliness, it was already more than most men could bear. Now this. And then, she stepped forward. A woman no taller than Jacob's shoulder, with raven black hair and eyes that carried both fire and sorrow. Her name was Nietzsche, though most settlers called her Nancy, softening her Apache heritage into something they could pronounce. She had been working near the ranch that day, carrying baskets of herbs she'd gathered from the hills. Nobody expected her to interfere. Yet she walked straight into the circle of men with a calm fierceness that made even the whipholder hesitate. "If punishment is due," she said, her voice clear and steady, "then take it from me." Jacob's heart jolted. "No," he rasped. "This isn't your fight." But Nietzsche didn't look at him. She stood before the men, her chin lifted with quiet defiance. "A man who struggles to keep his land alive should not be broken for a mistake. If you must spill pain, let it fall on me. At least I will not break." The mob murmured in disbelief. Some scoffed, others shifted uncomfortably. The leader sneered, thinking it a bluff. But when Nietzsche didn't move, he snapped his whip downward, striking her across the back. Jacob shouted, trying to push forward, but two men held him back. His stomach turned as he heard the lash tear fabric and skin. Yet Nietzsche didn't cry out. She bit her lip, standing tall, taking lash after lash as though each stroke was carving courage into the dust itself. By the fifth strike, the mob grew uneasy. They came seeking vengeance, not martyrdom. The leader lowered the whip, muttering curses, embarrassed by her silence. "Enough," someone said. "Let her be." The crowd dispersed slowly, shame clinging to their steps. Jacob rushed to Nietzsche, catching her before she fell. Blood streaked the back of her dress, but her eyes still held that same fire. "Why would you do that?" Jacob whispered hoarsely, his throat thick with guilt. Nietzsche managed a faint smile. "Because, kindness must survive this land. Even if it costs me." Jacob carried her into his farmhouse, tending her wounds with trembling hands. As he cleaned the cuts, tears pricked his eyes. He had known loneliness, but never sacrifice like this. He didn't know that miles away, high in the canyons where eagles circled and the wind howled through stone, Nietzsche's brothers had felt something stir in their spirits. They were Apache warriors, tall, broad, fierce as the mountains themselves. And when they heard what had been done to their sister, they rose like a storm. By dawn the next morning, Jacob's farm was surrounded.